Okay, so I have been working on perfecting a mask pattern that has a spot for a wire, that has a pocket for a filter, and that can be churned out pretty quickly. And I think I finally found one / made one. I'm gonna walk you through it. It's gonna use all rectangular pieces of fabric, so it's quick and easy to cut, and we're gonna do it with the minimal amount of seams possible so we can do it quickly. All right, let's go. Here's what it takes to make one mask: 9x6, 9x6, and 7x6. This is going to be our mask pocket. We're going to start by hemming these two short edges, and I recommend chain piecing the way you do when you're quilting. I'll show you that so you can get it done quickly assembly line style when you're making multiple masks. Here are our mask pockets. Now that they're hemmed, I used about 1/8 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 inch seam allowance, just something that will hold it down. This seam isn't going to take us on a ton of stress, and when you're ready to use them, just cut them apart. Let's lay out our pieces for sewing. We will put the pocket, centered, and I'm not going to try and center this now. I'll do it off camera because that will be really hard with one of my hands not free. Pocket centered. It doesn't matter if it's facing up or down, just as long as you have right sides together. So there we go. And right now, this is our two right sides. This will be the outside of the mask. This will become the front. And if this fabric was upside down, then this would be the front of the mask. So it doesn't really matter whether you place the pocket towards you or face down, as long as these two fabrics are right sides together. The next thing we're going to do is start down here, sew all the way around the edge I'm using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then give yourself 2 inches of unsewn space to flip this inside out, and I'll show you how to do that properly so you don't get all confused with the pocket. Okay, so it's important to note at this point that the place where you left the gap open, this is now the bottom of your mask that will be resting by the chin instead of the nose. That will become important later. All right, now let's turn it inside out properly. So make sure you don't open the spot where the wrong side faces the right side. We don't care about that. We're treating these two pieces as one piece of fabric right now. We want to open so both right sides will show. Now we are going to prepare to do the seam that goes all the way around the edge of the mask, creates the pleats on these sides so the mask will be fitted, and will attach the straps all in one fell swoop, while also creating a tube here for the wire to go through. So I will walk you through that. I'm going to put 3 pleats that are about 1 centimeter, a little less than 1/2 inch in this mask. And I want the top of the pleat on the right side of the mask to be facing up, so away from the hole at the bottom. All right, I've pinned my pleats on both sides. They're all facing the same direction. All the pleats are facing upwards, and now we're going to get some straps and pin them in. Okay, I've cut my little ties. They're both 3 feet in length. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one, I'm going to fold it in half so I can find what's roughly the center. I'm going to hold that with my finger just so I remember the spot, and smack it roughly in the middle there. And then just open. There we have it. And I'm going to pin it into place with 2 pins. And I'm doing this on the wrong side of the mask, the part that's going to touch the face, because that will make it easier and simpler for me to catch everything in one seam instead of worrying about catching something while I'm catching the strap while it's placed on this side and I have this side face up in the machine. And okay, all right. Now these are pinned into place. Let's plan out how we're gonna sew this. We're gonna start at the bottom, closing the hole with a top stitch. So we're gonna start somewhere around here and go around with about 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. It's important that we're sewing with this side up so we don't catch the filter pocket and have it wind up like this. It's more easy to position if we have access to it. So we're gonna go around like this. We are going to get to here, go back and forth a couple times, back stitch. So here to the end, so back over the strap, so to the end again, and then back stitch a couple more times for extra security. And then for this entire top side, we're going to change our seam allowance. So we have at least 1/4 of an inch. I think roughly 1/4 of an inch is a good fit, so we can fit a wire or a pipe cleaner or something into this little tube we're making. So then we'll go across this side again with that 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, get here, back stitch a couple times, go here, back stitch for extra security, and close this up. And then our mask will be almost complete. All right, here is our mask. The sewing is done. As you can see, it is pretty ugly. If you watch the end of the time lapse, I went over this part again on the front side of the mask just for extra security because I missed it a little bit. Here's the back, and now we've got that lovely little tube where we can insert a wire or a pipe cleaner or something. So I will show you how to do that. But in other comments, I don't know how to adapt this pattern to elastic. I don't have any elastic, so I've been working without it. So if someone can figure out how to do that, that would be great. And I timed it this morning, and the sewing portion of this mask, once you have this hemmed and you have all your pieces done, all your pieces are cut, sewing it takes about 13 minutes for me. But I'm pretty amateur. Like, I don't sew regularly, obviously. Now we are going to put some wire in the mask. I'm using something like 20 gauge jewelry wire. I'm not really sure what the gauge is, and I'm folding over the edge. Jewelry wire is all I have, so we're gonna have to go with it. And we're going to go into that little tube, insert, and push it through almost to the end. Give it like 1/8 of an inch, and then I like to pull it out a tiny bit so the wire won't be too big, and then I fold the other end, and we've got a wire in there, which is great. Now I'm gonna sew. I'm just gonna tack down here and here at the edge of the tube. So here and here where I've sewed already, so the wire can't come out in the wash, because honestly, do hospitals really want to be dealing with that? No, they need to treat their patients. And here we have our finished mask. The wire is enclosed. It will tie around the face like so. The wire, I've found that it's important to have a longer wire is more helpful than having one that's only like 2 or 3 inches, because not only will it conform to the nose, but it can also conform to the cheek, and you'll worry about the wire shifting around in the tube less when it's longer. So that's something I've noticed from wear testing these, that having a longer wire, as long as the wire is flexible and will conform and hold its shape, is better. So yes, I think that's the end of this. I'm gonna get back to sewing like a maniac. Please take care of yourselves and keep up the good work, and remember to take breaks, because I've been sitting so long in a chair that my back hurts.